I know you're all thinking if the preparation takes that long, the speech must be exceptionally long. And it is. First of all, I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to thank the Master of Ceremonies, members of the induction committee, fellow inductees, previous inductees, friends, my wife Ann. Thank you all. What a thrill. As I look around the hall at these awesome athletes who are so deserving of the Hall of Fame, I am so proud to be inducted with them. Many years ago, I would walk from North Street to the McCabe Waters Little League facility, Fraser Field. I would pass Muzzy Field. I could see the players and the spectators. Later on in the evening, I would see the lights illuminating the field. I hope that someday I might be good enough to run out onto that field and play some sport, any sport, on that field. Dave Mills's filmed highlights of great moments, he described for you what it feels like to play in a Thanksgiving Day football game in Bristol, Connecticut. It's unbelievable. It's the greatest thing you can ever do. The lead up the week before the football game is spectacular. Every moment you remember. I can remember not having tape for my hands one day. Why would I remember that? I don't know. It was part of the lead up to Thanksgiving Day football. And as Dave's highlight film indicated, the ride from Bristol Eastern across town to the Central Territory, Muzzy Field, was silent. We were getting ready to go to war. It's always an analogy they make, but it's controlled war, and it was really great. It was one of those things that is truly special about Bristol. Doesn't matter what the sport is, it's knowing you're competing, and ultimately you're going to compete against Central that makes it so wonderful. Your whole season is made on one day, maybe two, it depends on the sport. Great feeling. I'm glad Dave had that. I'm glad they had that excerpt because in a previous awards dinner, someone described the minutia of getting ready to play a sporting event at Muzzy Field. The click of your cleats on the concrete, saying hi to people in a guarded way as you walked in, because if you were too ebullient, maybe your head wasn't in the game, and you never wanted the coach to think you weren't ready. It was great to see that. This isn't even part of my speech, but I was just so inspired by that. If you've never experienced it, I'm sorry for you. If you have, you truly never forget it. It goes with you for life. Even in college, as many of the individuals indicated in their traditional rivalries, you experience a similar feeling, but nothing ever affects you like the first time. Thanksgiving morning, the first time, getting ready to go to the high school to dress up and go to that game. God, it's wonderful. That's off the top of my head. That wasn't too bad. Fortunately, I was able to play on that field and on other places of combat, so to speak. A recent popular phrase says, it takes a village to raise a child. I was no different. Through sports, I came in contact with peers, coaches, sports enthusiasts, and some of the most positive people a boy, a young man, and an adult could ever meet. A complete list would take forever to relay to you. Some of the following individuals you will know. Unfortunately, some you might not have had the pleasure of meeting. Here are some that always stood out in my mind. Tom Duncan, Jimmy Kane, the son, James Kane, the father, Jeff Lumbra, Gary Palladino, Fred Russo, Bill Hyland, Dave Sage, Bob Rotler, Clem Roy, Dan LeBeau, Brian Skinner, Frank Henrick, Mike Giovinazzo, Rick Lance. Gotta love Rick. He was the co-captain of the last New Britain team that went to Miami and beat the Miami whatever they were back in the mid-50s. Little guy, you gotta love him. Lou Lodovico, Fred Duval, Tom Eck, Dick Sundgren, Dave Emmond, Joanne Galati, Gail Erickson, Beth Calkey, Joanne Mills, Phil Tata. There were many more. One individual deserves special mention. When I needed inspiration or an example of diligent hard work, a positive attitude, or motivation, I could always look to my friend Dave Mills. Hard work does pay off. I played football, baseball, wrestled. Football was my favorite sport. With a body like this, what else could you do? I was fortunate enough to play offense and defense. When you play defense, you are frequently asked, did you ever recover a fumble or intercept a pass? Then the obligatory question follows, did you ever score a touchdown? The answers are yes, yes, and no with an asterisk. Yes to a fumble recovery. Yes twice to interceptions, and an explanation for the no with an asterisk. We were playing Trenton State College. Gary Palladino, who's played quite a bit of ball all over the East Coast, he might have played against Trenton State. Now they're called the College of New Jersey. The score was 0-0 at the end of the first half. The Trenton players were taunting us as we left the field to go to the locker room. If you want to learn a lesson in sports, never taunt people. Even if you're ahead by 500 points, never do it. Early in the third quarter, after halftime, our defense had pinned Trenton inside their 10-yard line. The Trenton quarterback chose to throw a pass, and to my surprise, it came directly to me. With ball in hand, a touchdown, and glory in my heart, I took off for the nearby end zone. Unfortunately, their tight end intervened and planted me vertically in the ground. Ultimately, we scored 42 second-half points to defeat them by a score of 42-0. Payback was sweet. The second interception was against Middlebury College in Middlebury, Vermont. A pass was tipped, I intercepted the ball, and once again took off running for the end zone. It's getting to be a broken record. This time I decided to use some running back moves to avoid being tackled. You've all seen the pose. You can see with this body, I couldn't fool anyone. And this time, the entire Middlebury team planted me in the ground. Now I'm 0 for 2 with an asterisk to explain. I went back to Bates College, 20-year reunion in 1988. There I met a girl I had dated once while an undergraduate. Amazingly, we now realized we could stand each other. 1 year later, we were married. In the real world of life, she is my touchdown. I would like you to meet my wife, Ann. Please stand. What about the point after? During our 20-year hiatus, Ann had been married, had a child, and had been divorced. My extra point, my bonus, was a lovely, accomplished daughter, Kirsten. Kira's a high school administrator in Gwinnett, Georgia now, with a husband and family of her own. You did see her picture earlier at our wedding. She was 14 years old then. Now she's 38 years old, and I guess time is going by. How's that for a touchdown and a point after? As many of you did, I played sports at the high school level when Bristol had just split into two high schools, Bristol Eastern and Bristol Central. Soon, with the addition of St. Paul Catholic High School, Bristol had become a three-high-school town. At the beginning, success in athletics was a goal not easily attained. For many, the inevitable question, what if, was frequently asked. What if there was only one high school in Bristol? I lived the answer to that question. I played on a team with athletes from all 3 high schools. For a number of years after we had graduated from high school, a group of us had been playing football on Sunday mornings at Memorial Boulevard School Field. After a number of years of beating each other up, we learned of a flag football league in New Britain. Louis Lodovico, owner of the Sportsman Tavern, agreed to sponsor our football team in the league. We made it to the championship game the first year, but lost the championship game. 3 years of good, but not championship quality football passed. Then, quote, we put it all together, unquote. The favorite coach's line. We're going to put it all together, and we actually did. We went undefeated and untied for 4 straight years with 4 straight successive championships in New Britain's league, a record that, to my knowledge, has never been eclipsed yet. It is said we learned many lessons from participating in athletics. I have learned, where's Art? Here's the part. I have learned that Bristol people together are a pretty formidable lot. Together in business, education, recreation, and sports, Bristol is second to none. Plus, we even have a worldwide sports network to document our successes. You all know who that is. ESPN? Okay. Remember, the journey is the destination. I am proud to say I'm from Bristol, Connecticut. Thank you.